There are clearly three concepts of a coming kingdom in the ancient writings known as the Bible. One is what I call the contiguous line of thought of an ancient speaker named Jesus. He lived at the beginning of the first century. The second concept was held by many of Jesus' listeners. They believed in a coming kingdom on earth in which they would prosper greatly. The third concept, the one from where modern religion gets an afterlife with gates of pearl and golden streets, is inarguably the most esoteric of all the writings in the Bible. This writing, known as Revelation, was not written until the end of the first century. Obviously, our interest here is in the thoughts of the ancient speaker named Jesus. The epiphany in Jesus' figure of speech, kingdom of heaven, leaves little room for religion. In fact, the concept negated religion's role altogether. Jesus' view of the kingdom of heaven was for a different time and a different place than religious roots taught his listeners. The figure of speech, kingdom of heaven, was simply a rhetorical device to gain his listeners' attention. When Jesus began his speaking, he began by saying simply, "Change, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." He taught his followers to teach the same, and as you go, teach, saying, "The kingdom of heaven is at hand." The speaker told his listeners, the kingdom of heaven is right here, within your reach. The long wait is over. You have your kingdom. Consider that the change to which Jesus refers is a changed attitude toward the concept of God and toward one another. The change he promoted throughout his speaking. I call this concept his contiguous line of thought, the way to be. In addition, his followers were known as people of the way. He promised fulfillment in a change for which 600 religious laws could only hope. One mid-century writer attributed this phrase to him 32 times. No other ancient writer used the phrase kingdom of heaven at all. The strongest evidence Jesus spoke of this change was this same writer's depiction of Jesus' 11 stories about his metaphorical kingdom of heaven. His followers asked him why he told so many stories. He said, "To you it has been granted to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been granted." Jesus simply used these symbolic stories to stimulate his listeners' minds. Here we only introduce them. We will consider each of them in greater detail in later videos. Jesus began these stories with a question, specifically referring to the kingdom of heaven. To what may the kingdom of heaven be compared, or what is the kingdom of heaven like? Jesus said. He said the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. He spoke of sowing the way to be, only to have others corrupt it. Jesus reportedly said the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. The way, a small idea, once planted can grow into a larger understanding. One begins least in the kingdom of heaven. Then their understanding grows and becomes great, benefiting many others around them. Jesus said perhaps the kingdom of heaven, the way, is like leaven. This small idea grows inside you until it becomes infectious. The speaker speaks of the kingdom of heaven like a treasure buried in a field, discovering something wonderful and committing yourself to it with all your being. Making the same point, the speaker said the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking fine pearls. As with the hidden treasure, the kingdom of heaven, the way, is like a fine pearl, worth everything you have. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is like a dragnet, cast into the sea. Many get caught up in it, only some remain. The kingdom of heaven, the way, is like casting out an idea about life. Some continue in the way and some do not. In response to the question, how often should one forgive, the speaker said the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a certain king who wished to settle accounts. Perhaps the kingdom of heaven, the way, is compared to forgiving the accounts of others, to find only some learn from the experience enough to pay it forward. Again, speaking to its value, Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire laborers. The kingdom of heaven, having this way about you, is like going to work early or late in the day. Everyone benefits equally, no matter how late in life they try. And still again, the speaker said the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son. The kingdom of heaven, the way, is compared to an invitation, offering something beneficial to everyone, then discovering only some are ready and are willing. He said the kingdom of heaven will be comparable to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Some prepared ahead of time, some procrastinated and had no oil. The kingdom of heaven, the way, prepares one for the day their visceral response is required of them. One last example. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is just like a man about to go on a journey. He called his own servants and entrusted his possessions to them. He gave each of them different amounts. Some used their amounts for increase, one did not. Might it be that the kingdom of heaven, you having this way about you, is just like the story of the talents? If you learn the way required for a content life, you either use it or lose it. Whatever you might think of my interpretations, ask yourself if a wealthy beyond the clouds afterlife kingdom is present in any of Jesus' comparisons. Religion's current understanding of this wealthy afterlife came long after Jesus died, at the end of the 1st century, with the writing of an esoteric work of supernatural fiction, an ancient sci-fi, if you will. The speaker spoke of the kingdom of heaven, the way, using metaphors of people and things from everyday life, doing everyday stuff, and his stories illustrate the way to be and the resulting contentment the way brings. Now don't think that my purpose here is to tear down your hope in a supernatural afterlife. After pastoring 4 churches, I understand quite well the comfort brought by the anticipation of seeing your loved ones again. Instead, consider, if you will, a better way than religion, a way that makes your life simpler and fuller, a way to be content. The kingdom of heaven is no further than inside of you. It is not supernatural. There is a natural way of being that brings life, whether you are atheist or theist or none of the above. Your genuine desire to change yourself is all that is required. The burden of arguing over religion is off your shoulders. Get on with your life. This was Jesus' good tidings, his good news.